Morning guys, Double Wide 6, and today I got a tractor for free. This one was put out in the yard with a free sign, so check it out. Tractor already had the deck off. It's a 48 inch, looks very solid, no rust like it's been stored indoors. I didn't look at it at all, but the belts are on it, pulleys look good, they're greasable. It's a Husqvarna tractor. And we'll show you what that looks like. Got it up here on the left. Looks like it was bought at Lowe's. It's a YT2348, so it's got a 23 horsepower Briggs twin in here. The Intech engine. It's got a battery that is from 315, so it's going to need a new battery. But otherwise, the tractor looks like it's in really good shape. I have no idea what's wrong with it, but we're going to go through it today and figure it out. We're going to start by putting a new battery in it. So I just installed a new battery in there. And well, actually it's used, but it's in good shape. So we'll see what we get. Here's the hour meter. It's not registering any. Oh, here we go. Looks like 379 hours even. So we'll see what happens here. Whole lot of nothing. So you know what, I gotta put the brake on. Let's do that. Alright, we got a click up front. So that's our fuel solenoid, that's working. Okay, I was just turning the key back and forth. Now we're gonna try and crank. I'm actually surprised that it's cranking. I thought there'd actually be something wrong with this thing electrically. So I wonder, there's a little bit of fuel. Looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch up. So I'm gonna let this guy crank a little bit and see what happens. So I checked the charging system. We're getting about 14 volts, which is good, and the lights were working, so charging system's good. And I had it running, and I wanted to engage the PTO to see if that was working, and I hear it clicking, so it's pulling in. But as soon as I pull it in, the engine stalls. So we'll show you what that looks like. Let me get it started. Give it a little choke. So I'm not sure what's up with that, so we're gonna investigate a little bit. So our PTO switch comes down here, and the wire is here, and that feeds through to the PTO clutch. And what I want to check here is that I have 12 volts, which I must because the thing's pulling in. That's what you hear, the clutch clicking. So let's see what this looks like. Let me put the key on. There you go. That's battery voltage. So I got about 11.5 on my battery. Needs a charge. It's been sitting around. But yeah, we're getting voltage down there. And now what I want to check, so everything's good down to the PTO. I want to check the resistance of the PTO. So that's what we'll do next. So I now unplugged the PTO connection from the switch, and I'm back probing that. This wire just runs down to the clutch, or the PTO, and we're at about 3.5 ohms, which is good. I was hoping to see like less than 4, somewhere between 3 and 4. You can look up how many ohms it should be. Now what I want to check is if any of those have a path to ground. So we're going to check continuity from each of those wires to ground, and if it's touching ground, it can be shutting down the engine. So let's check that. So we'll check our first wire to ground. No connection. And we'll try and check the other side. Hang on, need 2 hands. So here's the other side. No connection to ground. So to me it looks like the PTO is good. Maybe we have a problem with our PTO switch. So let's look at that. So I pulled the switch, I put it up here in the vise, and I'm going to set my meter for continuity. And the way these switches work is you should have continuity going through these posts, and I'll show you how to check that. So when I touch these together, we're getting a beep. So here we go. These 2 posts, no connection. If we open the switch or turn it on, we have a connection, and when we turn it off, there's no connection. So that's good. I also don't see any of these posts melted. Let's check the next one. From outside to outside, we have a connection. So we'll turn the switch on, and that connection is broken. Let's check to the middle. No connection there. We'll check from the middle over to this one, and we have a connection. And this should turn off now. So that's good. And these last posts, we got a connection there. No connection. Connection there. No connection. So actually the switch is looking good. I don't see any burnt spots. We have continuity going on and off through those posts. So that actually looks good to me. So here's what's going on. We checked the clutch. It has good resistance, about 3 ohms. No shorts to ground. Our wires giving us 12 volts down there, are actually battery voltage, which this battery is a little low. It needs a charge. Switch checked out all right. So the only other thing it could really be here is like a safety switch, and when you're turning on or engaging your deck, you need to be in the seat, and I'm not sitting on the seat, so I'm thinking that you know, it's kind of weird because it engages the clutch and then it's going off. It shouldn't even go on if I'm not on the seat, but I'm gonna sit on the seat and just rule that out, and then we can look at the other safety switches. So let's just see if that's what it is. That's not going to be too hard to fix because it's not broken, guys. So you know, obviously I didn't talk to the guy that had this thing out for free, so I wonder if nothing's wrong with it. So everything's checking out here pretty good. I'll have to run the engine and see if it's like shutting off. Maybe it has a spark issue, but maybe this tractor is just fine and they bought a new one. I don't know, but seems like everything's good. And at this point, I can probably put the deck on. We'll have to check the underside of the deck and that, but I think we should put it together, and then I'll charge the battery, and then we'll run it around. We'll see if there's any other problems we notice when mowing. I know it's charging, so yeah, this might be a pretty good tractor. So we'll move on to the deck. So the deck's off, which makes it easy to look at, and the top side, the pulleys look fine, and there's like no play in these spindles, no cracks, and actually these blades look really good. They're sharp. They're really like ready to go. I mean, I could touch them up and sharpen them, but I don't even know that I'm gonna do that. Yeah, there's not even any like nicks. You can see how square they are on the ends. So this stuff's all fine, doesn't need anything. So I think what I want to do is put the deck on this mower and then test it out, and maybe it's getting hot and we're losing a cylinder or something. I would think something would be wrong with it, because why wouldn't the guy have sold the tractor? I mean, you could easily get $200-300 for it if it was running fine. I'm thinking there's got to be something up with it, but I don't know until I test it out. So yeah, it's always, you know, I picked this thing up last night. It was about 9 o'clock, and I happened to have my trailer on the truck, and my buddy texted me and said, hey, there's a tractor in my neighborhood if you're interested, and he sent a picture. And yeah, I went over like 2 hours later. I figured it wouldn't be there, and it was sitting there. And then I was thinking, well, you need a trailer to be able to take it away. So I got really lucky. I didn't think it would actually be there, so I grabbed it just kind of for parts. But I don't know, I think this thing's going to be a good runner. Well, I got the deck on, and I had all the parts and pieces for that, every pin. So the only other thing I'm thinking that could be wrong with this would be the transmission, but I don't see any signs of oil leaking out of it. But a lot of times they don't leak oil and they still go bad. So let's see what we get here. Well guys, I just gave it a power washing. It cleaned up real nice, and I ran it up the hill. The transmission's real good, strong, no issues there. And when I got done power washing, I was gonna adjust the RPM because it seemed a little low. And before I adjusted the RPM, I licked my fingers and touched the exhaust pipes, and we only have compression in this left side. Okay, so we're gonna figure out if the piston's moving and what's going on. Hopefully we have a valve issue and not a piston issue. So this is good news for you guys watching the video and bad news for me. So let's see what's going on here. So I'm gonna pull the spark plug on this side and just check that the pistons moving up and down. Looks like the owner put in a new plug. This you can tell isn't firing. Well, the plug was probably firing, but anyhow, let's see if the piston's moving. So I'm just going to turn the engine over a little bit, and you can see my screwdriver's moving. Just came out, and I'll turn it a little more. So the piston's good. The next thing I want to do is check for spark on this side, because it could just be that we don't have spark on this side. So we'll put the plug up here, and I'll move you guys over. Parking brake, and then I'll turn the key. Problem is I can't see. Is it sparking, guys? I gotta check where I can see. No spark. So, well, I stand corrected. I went to switch the plug just to check if the plug was bad before I tore into this thing, and turns out I do have spark. So I just didn't see it. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I do have spark over here. So I just want to check compression here, and if we don't have compression, then I would say we have an issue with the valves. But before I yank that off, we'll just see. We'll get a baseline compression on this thing. We're showing less than 60, about 55, 58, somewhere in there. So we're losing compression. It's leaking out. My guess is it's leaking out the valves. So we'll take a look at what's going on there. Maybe it'd be as easy as adjusting the valves. These engines are known for having valve problems. Usually the cooling fins up there get packed up and it overheats, and that's when you start having valve problems. Well, I see our problem, people. So we got a bent push rod here. So I think I have one of these. I just want to make sure the valves are opening. Yeah, we're missing the other push rod's actually missing, which isn't good. They're sitting in the engine somewhere, but I'm pretty sure I have these push rods. Let's see if our valves are moving. That's good. That's good. So Maybe they just came loose. Maybe one of the push rods fell off and it got jammed on the way down to the bottom of the engine. But yeah, that's what we got. So I had the some used push rods, and the aluminum goes up by the intake valve, so I put that up there. I got a steel one down at the bottom, and what I noticed is the bottom rocker arm is loose, this bolt. So I'm thinking what happened was this one came loose, the steel one, that fell in the engine, so it's on the bottom of the engine in the pan most likely. And on the way down, I'm thinking that clanked around. It might have jolted the aluminum one and bent it. So I'm kind of thinking that's what happened. So we're going to snug this thing up, set the valves. Just torquing these. Yeah, that's good. And we'll see what we get here. I do have other videos on how to set the valves, fellas. Well, I actually checked these valves. They're both at about 4 thousandths. And I didn't even have to adjust anything. So I think I'm just going to seal this thing back up and see if we're running on 2 cylinders, and we'll see how well it's running on 2 cylinders. Alright guys, so I buttoned everything back up. I'm going to try and start this thing, and we're going to check if the muffler is getting hot. Well guys, this thing's running really nice. It's a really good tractor. I'm happy I picked it up, and the repair wasn't too bad. Yeah, it sounds great. It's running really strong. Everything's working well. So very happy with this. So anyhow guys, if you're not a subscriber, click on the subscribe button, hit that bell, and give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. I have a bunch of videos just like this on my channel, so check it out. Take care.